Rachel, how'd you like
Uh,
that epic intro?
I loved it. I was my
I was
flabber was
videotaping it. I was like,
blasted.
I love it every year.
It was yeah, I was like, oh, it's a full feature film. Hello everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rachel Gillig. We are here to celebrate Throne of Nightmare with Kerri Maniscalco, which was out this week. It's brand new. It's 2 days old. Um, Kerri, how are
Rachel,
how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I still, it's like that post publication, like just rush. You can't believe that it's actually here and
So you're
we're
floating 10 feet
here.
above your body. You're not actually here with us today.
I'm out in the stratosphere. I'm with
Yeah.
Clark.
Yay. Um, well, it's very exciting. And as we see behind you, are those all three the Barnes& and Noble exclusive editions? Sorry, there's a bit of a lag. Can you hear me? You froze, Kerri. Oh dear.
I can hear you. It's getting a
Okay,
little,
maybe it was me.
it's almost
Um,
like it wants to do a little house beats,
okay, I was asking, the three behind you, the gorgeous books, they're all the Barnes& and Noble exclusive editions? I love
Yes.
them.
My little pretty sherbet colored ones.
I absolutely
Thank you.
love them. And I'm going to start out how I like to, which is to just ask you about you. What was it like writing this book, the third of this companion series? And just go from there. And obviously, I have things I want to discuss, but yes.
See, this one I was actually contracted for a different prince,
Oh,
and then it was one of those things where the story just kind of like started filtering in, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I had my notes open in my phone, and I was just like writing out the entire book. I was like, I've got the whole thing. I had the dedication. I wrote it before I wrote anything else. I was like, oh my gosh, this book is just here. I need to do it. And then I called my agent and I was like, we have to have a conversation. I think we need to talk to Helen, my beautiful, lovely editor who just always puts up with all of my crazy ideas and welcomes them. But yeah, I mean, it was just one of those special things where it just appeared.
I love that. And I also love it's so amazing to have agents and editors who are just like, okay, and like go with it. You don't have to feel like you're fighting for it because I don't know, maybe it's different for you, but those moments don't happen all the time. So when they do happen, you do have to run with it. Yeah.
It's never happened before. I always think when I hear Stephanie Meyer for Twilight, when she's like, I just had the full book, like the whole series, I'm like, how does that happen? I
What's
don't
wrong
believe
with
it.
you,
And I was
Stephanie?
like, Stephanie, how dare you? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh my gosh, here it
And this
is.
is your 10th book, so maybe is it an every 10? Well, hopefully not, because that's also a lot.
Might be a while. It's not going to come around again for a while, but that's where I was like, you know what? I really like it. I had the plot, like just the whole thing. I was like, this is magic. So
Does
it
that
was
mean
for a
you
nightmare kind of book?
yes. Does that mean when you actually sat down to draft after you got the green light, was it a quick journey for you?
No.
I mean, that's not fair. It's never easy no matter what, but
It was like, haha, you know exactly what's happening, but now you still have to do the execution.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Also,
mean,
sorry if you hear my dog barking. There is a man here repairing our water heater, in case everyone
that's
wants to know.
my cat.
Okay, go ahead, Kerri.
Lucy just jumped down. She is my other cat. She usually hops into conversation, so she might come screeching at us. So we're good.
Good.
Menagerie today.
Yes.
But
Okay,
yeah, thing
where
is
we
always, you know, drafting.
I have a segue to something that you said earlier, which was that you wrote the dedication when you're just scribbling at 2 a.m. I actually wrote it down too because I feel like the dedication is so perfect for obviously the book itself. Sometimes the dedication is tied in, sometimes it's not. Yours definitely is, and I'm gonna read it if that's okay.
You
Yeah.
can. You
For,
may.
for the bookworm who dreams of falling into the pages of their favorite fantasy world, this is for you. I love that. And also, who hasn't? And I wanted to ask from that, what about you when I don't know, let's go back to your formative years. What were some books as a young reader before this was your job that you wanted to fall into the pages of?
I think when you start thinking of like Alice in Wonderland, you know what I mean? I was just like so fascinated by this whole whimsical
Literally tumbles
you're
into it. Yeah.
tumbling into it. You know what I mean? So it's like I just always thought that was so cool. And The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, like all of that stuff. I wanted every wardrobe that I went into in every vintage antique store. I was like, please take me to Narnia. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I actually had this conversation not that long ago with someone about like fairy portals, and about how like some people like fairy doorways, and I got like too serious about it because I was like, and my son found this like hole in the tree and now he might be a changeling, and this person like they're like "Mm." But no.
Like,
um but I mean, I don't know, especially as a reader of fantasy, I think I probably think about it even if I'm not actually asking myself the question, could I survive in this world? Would I want to live in this world? Like I think about it. And as the writer, I definitely think about it. Because you're the creator of this space. I wrote some down too when I was thinking about it. Like these aren't portal books, but something about like it's such a meme, like a millennial meme, which is that you grow up really upset that the world isn't like Busy Town, because those are the books that we read when we were younger. And I was like, I your books are great, but can you write a bit like a heroine who falls into Busy Town? So I would eat that up.
you never know what's coming down the future.
That's true. That's very, very true. Okay. Let me go on from there. Okay. Your book is also very much, this is a perfect time for it to come out around the corner of Valentine's Day, because yes, there is a romance in it. It's a very fun romance, and it's a nod to also like hopeless romantics. But I would argue too, like romance exists because we love stories as well. Like everything's romantic, to quote Charlie XCX, everything's romantic when you love stories. How do you feel about that?
I love it. And I think that's the whole thing. It's like it's a love letter to storytelling, to stories, to reading, to readers. I think that romance is everywhere. It doesn't have to be necessarily romantic romance. You know what I mean? It's just falling in love with characters, with the worlds, with just side characters, and yeah, just the whole everything about it.
Absolutely.
Whimsical.
We have a lot of awesome questions that were submitted by our readers, by our participants here today, that ask you specific questions about exactly characters, particularly like which ones are your favorites, which worlds are your favorites. Um, and we're gonna get to those maybe in about 5 minutes. I also am just a huge fan. One of my favorite reads that I read in the last year, 2 year, I don't know what year it is, in the last two
Oh my
years,
God.
um, was Sarah Reese Brennan's Long Live Evil, which is also very meta. Have you read it?
Yes. Yes. I've read that. Uh-huh.
And I love like meta books like yours, which kind of points a finger at your reader. Now you're in the story, and I like how it goes wrong. Um, so when you were doing all of that early prepping, when the idea came to you, you knew you wanted it to be like a meta story like that?
I just really loved the whole idea of just playing with being a reader and all the things like when I think about like talking to other authors, author friends, when we're analyzing like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or any kind of storytelling, it's
Yeah.
just when you get into that really like the books you love and how excited you get and talking about the tropes and all of that, it's
Yeah.
just, I really wanted to capture that feeling of like talking to your bookish friends
Mm-hmm.
and then just nerding out over it. And it's like, but what about this character? Like, what if that's how she operates as well? You know, like that would be kind of fun to see. I thought, to
I think
connect.
so too. And I also think this day and age with the expansion of, I mean, they always existed, at least for as long as I've been an author, like Bookstagram existed, but the book talk kind of happened
Right.
during the pandemic and got really large. And I think those conversations about tropes and finding them in books and discovering like our niche tropes, I like when they get even more and more niche. Like those have expanded, and I think
Yes,
that's great.
I love
Um,
it too. That's where.
yeah, I didn't know, like, I know of it now, but when I wrote One Dark Window, someone put like, I love this book because it has only one horse trope. I was like, what the hell? And then I was like, oh, it's because there's only one horse for them to ride. Like I didn't know what it meant, but they get more and more niche like that. What are some of your favorite tropes that you got to like poke a finger at in Throne of Nightmares?
I definitely love like dagger to the throat. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's just always really funny. And I loved her commentary on it. I will not spoil it for anyone, but it's just I love when she's like actually being really practical when she's thinking about like the mechanics of
Yeah.
something. It's like, you know
What does it
what?
mean for the story? What does it mean for this experience? Yes. Uh-huh.
So I love that. I love her whole take on enemies to lovers and just, you
Yeah.
know, the alpha like male whole thing that she was just yeah, I had a lot of fun with everything that you see on book talk, on TikTok, everywhere with people readers.
Well, it's
um
ripe for commentary, and so that's why it's so fun to see it actually in a work of fiction that's literally experiencing those tropes. Because there's all reasons why they work, they don't work, why they work in certain stories and not others, and I love it. Okay, there are plenty of reader comments, and I would be remiss if I did not begin. Also, I'm going to be reading them off my phone if you see a glowing light. Okay, let's begin. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but actually, no, we didn't. This is about your writing process. What does your writing process look like when you are deciding the plot of your books? You said how this one was obviously a little different, but
Bit of chaos typically. I'm kidding. I really need to understand the characters before I begin, like what their goals are, who they are, how to create the romances from there. I think about at that point, um, like what objects would they be after, and then the plot kind of slowly starts filtering in a normal fashion. Obviously, like we said, this book was a little bit different than past novels with this, but yeah, I usually start with the characters and then build out. And once I have a deep understanding of what they want, what they're after, then it's kind of like crafting the world around that and how I can absolutely either make them cross moral lines that they say they would never cross and like
mm,
basically lives for a little while, you know?
yeah, how do you create these in-depth characters and then torture them? Yeah, like that's basically how you write a book. What inspired you to expand the Kingdom of the Wicked world? Great question.
I love that in a lot of the books, sometimes there's just a couple of lines where they'll talk about the old gods, and
Mm.
then we don't really know much about the old gods. So then it kind of leaves it ripe for just like all the little story fruits to be blossoming and figuring out from there, you know? So I just kind of like that it is such a big world, and we do just get little glimpses when we're in the houses individually, and then, expanding and going like to the nightmare realm. Like that was just, it was a fun surprise for everybody.
I know I like that too. I mean, that's the fun thing about fantasy, particularly in that, yeah, you leave a little crumb in a book that adds texture to it and you move on, and that could be a whole another book if you choose to be, as you can just keep going with the lore, and I do appreciate that.
Mhm.
Your kitty's gonna knock over your books, girl. Get it.
That's
Oh,
Cricky. Well, she is my other little manager, so
look
she is
at she's
job.
posing.
She does.
I love her. Kisses. Okay.
Mommy's gonna take pictures.
When you first came up with the Kingdom of the Wicked, did you originally always have a trilogy in mind with hopes of having spin-offs? What does plot hmm, what does plotting a series look like? Do you plot it as a series if we're talking about taking little nuggets, or it just happens? Yeah, tell me. These are great
So
questions.
they're really good questions. For the Kingdom of the Wicked, I always kind of have a very loose outline for like where I want the story to end
Yes.
at the end. So I know like a trilogy, I might not know all the pieces, and sometimes you can have the most intense plotted out thing, and once you're executing it's just not working when you're on the page. So I like to just kind of keep that loose with like the main ideas of where I want the direction to go.
Okay.
For this though, I knew that I really wanted to do adult spin-offs with each of the brothers, which is why I kind of like figured out some of their backstories during Kingdom of the Wicked, and it's like we don't learn a lot about them necessarily there, but there are the nuggets. And I knew that I really, if I was going to do a spin-off series, I really wanted Envy to be the first one. So it's where in the Kingdom books you see a lot of kind of build up with Envy, and we know that stuff is going on with him. So it's just kind of like that hope that we'll get to expand on those. And I know Pride, I know everyone gets themselves worked up over Pride, but we definitely have laid groundwork and left open threads with purpose.
Nice. Love that. What this is a very specific question. What is your favorite chapter in this book, in Throne of Nightmares? Do you have one? And what is
I
it?
think I actually like the last chapter. Um,
Obviously, you can't tell us
I
probably
cannot
what
tell you anything about it, but I like the last
happened. Okay.
chapter.
That's a good feeling to have. I find that I either love my last chapter or hate it. So it's always a surprise. Okay. Who is your favorite female main character and your favorite male character of the Kingdom of slash Princes of Sin series? They don't have to be the same couple. They don't have, but individually.
I definitely love Lore. I think that she is so fun. I feel like she would be the closest to like bookish friends. So I feel like we would just have such a good time, like
I like
talking about all our favorite romance novels and oh my gosh, just going nuts on the craziest depraved fiction we can find. You know what I mean?
Oh, of
So I would
course. Who
love
doesn't
to
like
hang
a friend like that?
out. Right? I think that's it. Um, and I don't know. Every time I have to be forced to choose, I can't. I love Sloth because I love him.
I do
And
too.
then I love Envy because he's just so morally gray, and I love that for him. And
Yeah,
then there's
you
Cat,
love them for who they are, not who you are anymore.
but I like them all. Okay.
That is an acceptable answer.
Thank you.
Okay, let me see here. Maybe that one's very similar. Did you always know that Lo and Lore would be a pair for all us Booksta ladies from the inception of this world? Sounds like you did.
I definitely knew that he was going to end up with someone like her because I think that they are points and counterpoints. They have a
Yeah.
lot of compatibility, but like she's the fun one, and she
Yeah.
has.
It's so fun to write foils, especially like if we're talking tropes, like the grump and the not grump, or like the pragmatic and the more emotion, like I don't know, it's just the foils are so fun, and that's where a lot of built-in romantic tension lives anyway.
Tension, that slight friction,
Yeah.
that creating growth. You know what I mean? It's really fun because eventually the Ice Prince is gonna thaw, and it's
Yeah,
like you're waiting for that too. So it's like the multi-layered of tension that I think is really
I
so.
agree. And I don't think, I would like your opinion on this, because for me, for fantasy romance, it it's not held to the same standard in that there must be a happily ever after, so therefore I know these characters will get together. But I find I go into it assuming it will be, and then if it doesn't happen, I feel really bad. But like, yes. So I tend to treat my romances like we already know they're going to end up together, but let's right, tease out the tension, let's dive into who they are as characters and show where they're different and how they'll get to the same point. Do you feel like romantasy doesn't need to follow that? Does follow that? Like, what do you think?
I think it depends on if you're talking about like a standalone or a series. So I think
True.
that standalones, you definitely want to have them have their happily ever after because I feel like, oh, if they didn't have some kind of like happy resolution, even if it's not the ever after part, oh, people would revolt. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of where the romance comes into the fantasy romance. You have that promise of a
Yeah.
happy. But I think for a
Agree.
series, why I love series is that you can absolutely tease that out. You can just be horrendous. And everyone, if you follow my Instagram, know I love teasing readers. So cliffhangers, like, oh, just so close and then yanking them apart. That's it.
I mean, I love doing that too, where I haven't, and I don't think I plan to. Well, I write short series anyways. Mine are duologies thus far. Um, so where mine isn't is that there's like a teased first love interest that we all assume, and then it becomes something like there's just like one track minded there. But I do torture them certainly, and I do have cliffhangers, and they cannot be together. Of course. But
Not, not in book one. You know it's not going to happen in book one. You can, and then, oh, we can scream at you. Rachel, why?
like,
But you know what I
I'm
mean?
getting I'm getting threats in the comments. Rachel, oh, well, first this one's like Rachel touched too much. The other one is like be nice to Bartholomew. Yeah, there's definitely issues there with series where you never know what you're gonna get. Okay,
No.
so that answers that question. What pair of characters do you prize most in a male main character, and do you think they conflict?
What do I can you tell me again, Rachel?
Oh yeah, sorry.
First part, I got the first part.
Also, it's very small, so I'm zooming in. Hold on. What pair of characters do you prize? Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Because I read it wrong, Kerri. What pair of characteristics? What characteristics do you prize in a male main character? Oh my gosh.
Totally
And
fine.
you
I'm
think
like, I
those
don't know.
characteristics conflict? As in, like, I want him to be morally
Right.
gray, but also a sweet guy.
Well, I think that it's really great when they're morally gray, but they have that secret soft spot, right? Because it's like, I think that's what makes you in the gray zone and not like white or black. So it's like you do have a little softness, but you can also take care of business. So
Yes, I like that too.
I like,
I,
I love the whole idea of someone like, I will annihilate the world. You know what I mean? We
yes.
want them to be a little bit unhinged for their lady.
Yeah, I think you quote that very early on. You don't
It's
want
like,
someone
you see
to be
me.
like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we don't we want them to be polite, but if something goes wrong, we want them to be the opposite of polite and exactly destroy the universe if need be.
Exactly.
Which of the seven sins are you most likely to date?
Oh.
uh, oh,
No. Probably sloth. I mean,
yeah,
that would definitely be. We love an analytical man, you know?
absolutely. I like I like the bookish ones.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is related to him. What inspired him? How did you come up with his personality?
So sometimes very loosely when I am creating characters, I'll look at astrology and I kind of pull out some characteristics and traits for things. So I would say that I always thought of him as my Capricorn, right? He is just grounded, analytical. I feel like definitely logic, practical, head over heart type of thing.
I'm married to Capricorn, so that tracks.
You know what I mean? So I just felt like he's the Capricorn king. I love him. And that's just, we're just going to pull all those traits out. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that. Okay. We answered something like this. I like this world. This is a world building question. How do you design these vivid worlds, especially ones that work both as standalone and function as intertwined stories? And we kind of talked about that about the characters being little crumbs, but how do you do that with the world?
the world, again, I think for Gluttony, like when we went to his house, there was talk in the Kingdom series, again, like a throwaway. I think there was a sentence or two where they talk about the ice dragons in the north. And since I
Hmm.
know that Envy's house is like the furthest north, I know that he is going to have something going on with them. So we're going to kind of pull them in, find out what are the ice dragons? Where is the north? How did this all come to be? You know, so.
Hmm.
Again, some of the stuff from the original trilogy is pulled in, and the mythology just gets expanded. And it kind of just, the more we expand the world, the more it just kind of plays into everything. And it just gets like richer. I feel like if you're zooming out on an area, you know, where it's like you're just kind of getting further and further and you're seeing more of what's going on, if that makes sense.
It does. And how do you?
Visual mapping, you know?
Yeah, well, that it leads to my question. So what do you have in your like author arsenal that helps you keep track of all that? Because
I
it's a lot.
just have a very crazy brain.
Do you need like you store it all in your head? Do you need like what do you use? Do you have world building?
My brain, Rachel. That's it. I
Only
just
brain, all powerful.
only this. Okay, it all gets in the map. I think because I go over it over and over and over and over and over again, um, it just, I don't know, weird details stick in there. But we do have like the Bible, um, you know, the copy editor, bless
Oh
them with
yes. The style sheet.
yes. So I like to kind of continue to add to that every year. So if there is something, it's like I will scan through. But a lot of times I will pull up my ebooks and kind of search through something where it's like, what did I put in this book again for this? And I will go through and highlight and keep stuff like that. But
I do that as well. And for friends who don't know what a style sheet is, we authors are blessed when a book is about in copy edits, you get a sheet that maps out the timeline for you and it maps out character names, places, basically all descriptors
right.
with the small, actual description of them. It's very handy.
Names, the spellings, the eye color sometimes. I say, bless you, thank you.
Yes, because, it seems like it minutia, but the continuity is essential between books. So it's very, very, very handy. This is an interesting one. Do you have a favorite poem? No segue.
And no segue at all. I actually, what is it? These woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have miles to go and
Robert
all that.
Frost.
And I love the Emily Dickinson one with Hope is the thing with feathers. I actually got a quill tattooed and I have little birds all over because I love eternal optimism, you know.
That is nice. Do you read a lot of poetry?
I used to read a lot of poetry when I was younger, like in sixth and seventh grade. I was a total little poetry nerd.
Did you want to be a poet slash author at that young?
Songwriting, believe it or not. So I
Really?
really into poetry and like trying to figure out like lyrics and everything. So yeah. And then I took a hard turn.
I mean, yeah. No, I mean you're still in the arts, you're still in the creative endeavor, you're still creating things. I read a lot of poetry when I was young as well, but I would not call myself a poet. Okay. What inspired the world of goddesses, shape-shifting isles, and cursed forests? All of them are very exciting things.
I like to look at like mythology. So a lot of Roman, Greek mythology, and
Okay.
then it just my muse goes crazy with what if this? So what if this goddess was this? What if this happened here? What happens in this system? Yeah, so I just kind of take things that we know from history and just kind of let it filter out and play through that whole rabbit hole that you go down with research, you know?
Inevitably. Is there any particular, I don't know, Greek, Roman, any, or just myth in general that is not connected to this series, but in your research, you're like, oh, I'd love to write something about that someday?
You know, I would say that Hades and Persephone was very loosely kind of the kingdom of the wicked with
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of references with Amelia wearing flowers in her hair and obviously I'm not going to spoil anything because I don't know if anyone's read that series so I'm not going to spoil but there's a lot of that symbolicism.
Symbolism. Yeah.
You're saying it's like it's 7:30, 8 o'clock, the brain shuts down. You're all welcome.
Oh, I know. There's
Grandma gets tired.
Ursula Le Guin would say, tired is stupid. So you stop, she's, her routine. She stops writing at 8. Understandable. Okay. Ooh. About the world that you explore here in Princes of Sin, is there a favorite part of the world that you write? The world building itself that you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed this book a lot just because I liked that we got to a different realm that we'd never heard about before. It was really fun to just kind of expand and play with the creativity of it. It was also really challenging trying to figure out the mechanics of this dream world. So I liked it. I liked the challenge of it. But getting to explore the houses individually and see how the sins really play into the power and kind of play on the sins and power, where it's not necessarily like for gluttony, where it's not just overindulgence in food and wine, but like overindulgence in adventure and other areas too, you
Yeah.
know, seeing how
I
that.
like that how you did that with sloth, and that when one immediately hears sloth, I don't know, think that they're lazing about and like
That's
they
where it's
wouldn't
really
think
hard.
wouldn't think of it as like an academic who's like it's very like pragmatic and like no, but that is why it's fun. Okay, let's keep moving. Boo, boo, boo.
These are good questions.
They
And you're
are
doing a
really good questions, and I appreciate them because we get to peer behind the curtain, but they're not spoilery. Oh, here's a Stalking Jack the Ripper question. Which, how long ago did you write Stalking Jack the Ripper? Is that your debut? No, what's your debut? It is?
Yeah, that came out 10 years ago. And I wrote it, I think, in 2014, 2015. So it's crazy to.
When I was querying One Dark Window was originally young adult and I was looking for comps, it didn't end up being Stalking Jack the Ripper, but that's when I first picked it up. So it was a long time. And it
Oh
was
my
really
God, I love that.
good. Okay, what's this question? As a huge fan of Stalking Jack the Ripper and its follow on books, how did you make the transition from murder mystery to fantasy and romance?
So, one of the things that I kind of had in mind from the beginning with Stalking Jack is that I wanted it to feel like a fantasy novel. So, it's like when I was creating the historical aspect, I really wanted those gothic tones to come in so that it would be
Yeah.
an easy transition into the next because I had never written historical before that. I had only written fantasy, and it was just that the historical was the first thing that sold. But I had come from the fantasy background with applying that. So, I always wanted it to feel like a little paranormal that you weren't really sure with what they were investigating, like the Hunting Prince Dracula. Like, I thought it would be really fun to show how people thought they were vampires, but then they were explaining it away through science. But then I knew
Mm.
that I wanted to have this other series where it was the complete inverse. So you're set in Sicily and it's a normal girl, but then you find out she is actually a witch. And I really loved the whole idea of having these two series kind of mirror each other, but be flipped in concept.
Oh, I like that a lot.
So
So I
that's
guess if
why,
you've been exercising those muscles that it probably did it feel like a hard transition or
and then I wanted to make sure that when I went to the Kingdom of the Wicked series, that that first book did have a historical feeling setting and that we felt like we were in historical Sicily so that we could then transition with readers into the fantasy in the second book when we end up in the underworld. So it's kind of like holding our hands and walking together into this new adventure, you know?
I love that.
Thank you.
Okay. Ooh, this is a personal one. What did you learn about yourself writing this book?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that I love romance books and questionable ones at that.
I mean, that's a great thing to know about yourself. What are, I mean, I'm like, are you going to tell us what your questionable romance books were? You
I
don't
mean, I
have
just
to.
think about like some of the like dubious consent. I'm like, why does it work? And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. Like, is there something wrong with me? You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I mean, the I think the pause for self-reflection is a valid one whenever we're reading something that we don't normally read, but also like
or that's you just know is like wrong. It's like this is not right, but it's so good. Why? You know?
we'll apply it to other genres. I tend to think I get on my soapbox about why people tend to look down their noses at romance and gets more flack than other genres. But I mean, I think about the horror books I read and I'm reading about like cannibalism or something like that, and people aren't like, what's wrong with you? I mean, maybe they are, but I don't, you know what I mean? So, I mean, um, I think romance gets flack for it. But I like that genres push things. Yeah.
Right.
Let's see here.
You know?
What was
Take
that?
push the envelope a little bit, have a little tension, a little fun, a little bit of depravity that you know is wrong. Okay.
I also think that if we're all trying to play it safe, like it makes for scared art and that makes for boring,
Right.
or rather just kind of formulaic in a way that just forget what readers would say about it. You as yourself as the creator, I imagine you want to flex some muscles and do something different. Oh my, where'd my phone? Okay, let me see here. We asked you what you learned about yourself. Said you're very oh, you're very controlled about what you withhold emotionally and narratively. How do you decide when to let the reader know something versus letting them sit in uncertainty? What a great question.
I don't know. I think about like, have I tortured them for long enough at this point? Does it feel like I should give them a little something to be kind? Do I feel like being evil? It really just depends on what what my moral code is that day. Am I
Is
feeling a
it
little too much myself, you know?
I bet it's a, like in just as from a drafting standpoint, like a pacing thing as well.
Yeah. And that's kind of where it's like you got to feel where, like, where's the appropriate place to start giving a little bit more here, where it feels like it's earned and satisfying, as opposed to doing too early, where it feels like you haven't gotten there with the characters. And again, where is it authentic in their journey? So,
Yeah. The
take,
comment that
yeah.
sorry, the comment that popped up saying that you love to torture them and then, put them back together. So you're probably just drag it out a little bit longer in your like pacing of it.
They know that I love to torture. I will start like first drafting. I will start giving quotes from a first draft when they don't have a title or a prince yet. So my readers, I love you.
That's really sweet. Well, they love you too, clearly, and it's deserved because
They love the torture. Yes.
exactly, exactly. Okay. The other sins all have creative ways of being fed. For instance, I was surprised by how gluttony was fed, but I wanted to know what inspired the feeding sin for Prince of Sloth. I don't know if that's giving anything away or whatever, but probably not if you are vague.
How can I answer this without any spoilers?
Yeah.
I think again too, it's like he's just like knowledge. Like knowledge is kind of what feeds him. So,
Mm. Yeah.
right?
He's fed.
Like
No, that's okay. That's fine. He's
that's it.
fed by knowledge.
So
Aren't we
yeah, it
all?
has to go just sit around and read and you know, it's giving him power, okay? Yes, knowledge is power.
Yes, it is. I love that. Okay. Um, who or what gave you the courage to submit a manuscript to a publisher for the first time? I've been writing since I was in third grade and I'm 55. I still haven't worked up the nerve. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about obviously you said this was your 10th book. Can you talk about how you got from the very beginning to how you got here?
10th published book. I think I
Yeah,
wrote like
10th, yeah.
before I got an agent. So I started figuring out around 2009 that I wanted to start writing a book. So I started writing. And after I finished that, I started really researching everything on the publishing industry. Like, what are the next steps? So then it's like literary agents. And then I learned everything I could about literary agents. And then I started writing query letters and polishing up the query letters and joining all the different query letter camps that you could do, and finding critique partners and so yeah, I mean, it was a long journey. It was not something that was easy, and there was a lot of rejection along the way, but I learned a lot of lessons. And I think that for any writer, one of the strongest tools in your arsenal is to just never give up. If one project isn't working, try another project. Just keep writing, keep honing your craft, keep going. I think that you never know when that nebulous timing is going to open up for you. So you just might have a good project, but it's the wrong time. Or you might need to be having a new project and just keep going, keep working those creative muscles and keep knocking on doors.
I agree.
Positivity, Rachel.
Yeah, you are a very positive person. I have the same advice, but from the other side of the coin, which is like, let spite fuel you if you must. No, but I don't mean spite by like it shouldn't be like one person said I couldn't write and therefore I've spent my whole life trying to prove them wrong. You can't make it about other people. It has to be about why you actually enjoy doing it. But I think rejection and the feeling of like I do want to prove a nebulous sort of rejection wrong is pretty normal. Also, as you said, the rejections abound. You have to be very uncomfortable as a writer as well. You just are uncomfortable with being bad at something for a while too. It's okay to be bad at things, but as you said, um, another door.
Growing pains, it's like it's painful. It doesn't feel good.
It's it's oh yeah. I'm like it's still painful all the time. When things get hard, what keeps you going? I like this question. You are a positive person, so I can't wait to hear your answer. But what keeps you going? And with that, what do you do to keep yourself from burnout? Especially as someone who has published 10 books. Yeah, tell us about that.
It's very cute that you think I know how to stop burnout.
Oh my god.
I
I mean,
I run myself.
I don't think you know how to stop it. I think you've probably experienced it a lot and probably have some tricks up your sleeve.
Often. Often. Yeah, no, I think 2025 was the year that I finally figured out work-life balance because I would work myself literally almost into the hospital every year because I go hard at these books. So yeah, I mean, I think that that was a life lesson that I finally mastered. That's why everyone sees me cooking now because it's like I will take my time at the end of the day to be cooking my meals, to be going for my walks, to be doing things that are unplugging and just not so focused on work all the time and stressing about deadlines. And the crazy thing is like the more balance I bring into it and kind of like let go, the more creative and the more I'm staying on top of things and it's just working out. I don't know, but yeah. And I think for the first part of the question, I have just always been really optimistic. Um, my family used to call me Carrie Sunshine when I was a little kid because I was just a sunny little personality. So
That's really
I
sweet. And you still are very sunny. You have very lovely energy and the enjoyment does shine. Even in it's so funny in like a fantasy book where you're like, you may not live and it's all very like stressful. And we talk about you torturing us, like your enjoyment of this book shines through very much so. Um, and I like that advice, the unplug and walk away and ain't that just the way that it makes creatings better?
and that just comes back. It fills your well. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't pull from an empty well. And that's just kind of like my whole motto now, where it's like, it's going to be okay. Take a step back and just kind of forget all the craziness, you know?
What are besides you mentioned cooking, are there some current books that you're reading right now that are helping you recharge during this busy I mean you're experiencing a busy week. It's release week, but I mean um
Aside from that, I'm
yeah,
actually
yeah.
In the Wake of the Ruined by Kaylee Cassidy, the second book, which, oh, oh, it's so good to be me right now. It's so good. I know
Hmm.
that you read it too, right? Oh my
I
gosh.
have it. I
I
have
just,
it. I haven't read it. But I am going
oh,
to. Wait, did you
it's a
finish
good.
it?
I'm more than halfway through right now, and it's like I had to stop at the good parts. You know what I mean? Where it's like the whole
Yeah.
book is, but it's like really like, oh. So that's what
I
I'm
mean,
gonna be doing tomorrow.
I'm spoiled in that I know exactly what happens in it. But yeah, yeah. So I lovely. I'm very excited about that. Do you what about other media you consume? You said do you I'm always curious about like what authors, like what art is interest them as in shows. You talk about books and things like that. Are there anything else that you do like when you just completely unwind time or you just sit
I
and stare at the
actually
wall? It's a valid answer.
sometimes I just look at the ceiling. Like I'll lay, my cats will come over. Um, Yeah, that's what we convene with nature.
Yeah.
I do spend a lot of time just outside. I like to just, I'm one of those women now where it's like I get birdseed and I go and I feed all the birds so I can just listen to the bird song. And that's, that's like my
She's
happy
a
place.
princess. She's a Disney princess. I mean, you
And
are.
I feed my squirrels. I'm like, please, okay, just get me away from the animals.
I get it. Something about getting a little bit older, something in hitting my mid 30s, and I'm just like, I am interested in birds in a way that I never knew. Um,
I got binoculars for Christmas and I was like, this is a gift. This is a true gift.
do you ever use them on your neighbors?
Never on the neighbors, but I have like, I'm convinced that there was a golden eagle last year and everyone's like,
Okay, okay. That's valid. That's very cool. I love that. Um, very cool. You are a prince. Someone said you'd make a good belle. You would make a very good belle. What was your favorite? Were you a Disney watcher, first of all?
I did watch Disney, and because I mean, I like to sing all like I will sing, I will still sing the songs like in the privacy of my own home.
Oh.
It's not gonna happen now.
Damn it. Okay, that's fine. That's okay. That's a boundary. Was Belle your favorite?
I mean, I definitely like the library and like the Beast. I mean, come on, morally gray. It started then, okay?
It does start then. It starts then because you talk about like the dubious things like bestiality and Stockholm syndrome, and we're like, we were primed at a young age.
When you really think about it, it's like no wonder.
Yeah.
Think about the fiction. that's coming out now. Okay.
I know, I've never even had an
Disney.
original thought. It was just Walt Disney being a little freak. Oh, I love that. Okay. I
I think
think
about life.
I think, my love, that we have
This
covered on that note, on that auspicious note, I would like to let everyone know before we sign off at the actually we still have a couple more minutes, but I'm gonna say it now so I don't forget that your book, your Barnes and Noble exclusive edition of Throne of Nightmares, everyone who bought tickets to this event is getting theirs. And it's coming obviously with you have a signed book plate with it and an art card. Do they know what the art card is?
I have not shared the art card yet with them. It is going to be Sloth and Lore together, so it'll be a surprise when they see it. But it's going to be like the same artist. Uh, Rich,
I love this artist.
yeah,
I can't name her off the top of my head, but I
Salome. Salome is her name, right? Morgana. Oh, on
yes,
anagram.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. It'll be by her, and it's really pretty, so I can't wait for everyone to get it. But I figured it would be a nice little surprise.
Wait, that's really, really fun. I love that. So everybody, that art card and signed book plate is coming with your edition. They are shipping. So if you don't have yours this moment, do not worry. 8 to 10 days. And then if you have joined this and I don't know, you want to tell your pals, the exclusive edition is available, Barnes and Noble, in person, your local one, online, whatever you like. And Kerri, I'm so happy that this book is out. I'm so happy to talk to you.
I'm
And
so happy to talk to you. Thank you for taking time out of your day and everything
of
you're doing too.
I would be remiss if I did not ask you what's happening next in your career. What's happening next with future projects? Obviously, you can't say anything too specific, but are you going to wiggle your eyebrows about it?
I can say I'm gonna torture everyone. You know, it's like if I didn't end off on this event with torturing people, I wouldn't be me. So I do think that in 1 week from today, I can really share a bigger secret, but I can say that I will be drafting something soon. So do with that what you will. But yeah, I'll be working again and sharing secrets soon enough. And that's it, Bartholomew. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for submitting your amazing questions and for being here. We had a lovely, lovely time. And go read your book because it's fantastic.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you,
Bye.
Rachel. Thank you, everyone. Bye.